Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me. Today, I want to start out by wishing you a happy World Card Making Day, and I have 2 cards to share with you featuring some new products from the Catherine Pooler holiday release for 2020. Now, this release includes much more than what I have here, but there are 2 brand new Catherine Pooler ink pads, and I thought I would go ahead and swatch those out for you in this video, and then give you a peek at the products that I will be working with today. Now, the first thing I want to do is show you these new ink colors. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and just create my ink swatches. Now, I use the download that's available from jennifermcguireink.com. And I will link you to the video where I walk you through the entire process of how I created my Pantone-inspired ink swatches. And I find these ink swatches so incredibly helpful when I'm putting together color palettes to work with, and I'm going to do that today as well with my ink swatches. So I'm starting out with the new color called Cranberry Fizz, and I'm stamping it onto some Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock. I tend to use a cardstock that I actually stamp on so that I get a true color. Now, this Deck the Halls color is a very beautiful kind of evergreen color, and this pad is so juicy. But you can see I got a great stamped image for both of these. These are very rich, holiday feeling colors. Now, to compare them to the other Catherine Pooler reds, I've kind of pulled them all out here. The one directly to the left of Cranberry Fizz on the left edge is Peppermint Scrub. And then I have Cranberry Fizz, Rouge, and Rockin' Red. And you can see that Rockin' Red is going to be your more true red color. The Rouge is kind of a brick color. The Peppermint Scrub and the Cranberry Fizz are they're similar, but the Cranberry Fizz is much more saturated. Now, for the comparison on the greens, I pulled out Spruce, Eucalyptus, and Green Tea. Green Tea is one of my favorite greens. I absolutely love this color. And you can see the range of greens here. So the Spruce, once again, on the far left, and then I have Deck the Halls, Eucalyptus, and Green Tea. Once again, that Eucalyptus is similar to Spruce, but is much more saturated. So now I'm building a color palette for my cards today. And you can see I'm kind of building a couple of sub palettes as I go along. I'm not going to be using the Cranberry Fizz in my card projects today, but I am going to be using the Deck the Halls. And I'm combining it with It's a Girl, Coral Cabana, Samba, Green Tea, and Sauna. And that makes for a beautiful and bright, vibrant holiday color palette. Now, if I wanted to bring in the Cranberry Fizz to this color palette, what I would do is I would leave out the pinks that are on the top, and you would use this Cranberry Fizz with the Deck the Halls, the Green Tea, and the Sauna to create a more rich and regal kind of holiday palette. So I've gone ahead and pulled out my ink pads here, and I absolutely love this color palette. And I'm going to take the Stocking Stuffers stamp set, and I'm going to start stamping some of these images in the various colors that I've chosen for my palette today. Now, I'm going to end up stamping these colors multiple times. I'm going to be using, like I said, the various colors that I've chosen here. For the Holly Berries, I'm using the Samba. Now, many of my ink pads have kind of hit a dry spot this summer, and you will find that is more common with these foam style ink pads, and I just need to ink them up. So to get around that, because I did not want to ink them up at this moment, I went ahead and stamped the images a couple of times to get the true color of the ink. But it is definitely time for me to re-ink some of these ink pads. The bow I am going to stamp in the Coral Cabana, and I stamped those holly leaves in the new Deck the Halls green color. For my candy canes, I chose to use the lightest pink, which is the It's a Girl. Once again, I'm stamping these a couple of times to get the true color. And I thought these various pinks and reds, kind of in that coral tone, look really beautiful with that deep, rich Deck the Halls and that very bright green tea color. So for the ornament, I'm finishing my stamped images off here, and I chose the green tea color, and there are my stamped images ready to die cut. And you can see I actually stamped these twice because you'll notice that my holly leaves are a different color here and my ornament as well. I'm just taking the coordinating dies from the stocking stuffer stamp set and I'm holding them in place with some purple tape, and then I'm going to run them through my Gemini Junior die cut machine. And this is going to give me some perfectly die cut and stamped images. And I like to create a bunch of images so that I have a lot to play with when I go to put together my cards. And anything that I have left over, I can just save for another card project. Now, because I used my Mini Misty stamping tool to stamp both of these sheets of stamped images, my dies can stay in the exact same spot, and I can lay these dies in the original negative space right over my second sheet of stamped images and then run that through. Now, this works better if you're using an 80-pound cardstock. I find that when I use the heavyweight cardstock, there's not enough depth on the blade to get through that negative space and the bottom layer of cardstock. But today I did stamp on 80-pound cardstock, so this worked out just fine. I just left the dies where they were the first time I die cut it and laid it right over that second little quarter sheet of Nina Solar White and ran that through my die cut machine. Now I have the Hang Your Stocking die set. I love this little die. It is so adorable. And I'm going to create a white stocking with some felt details here that are kind of this creamy white. I thought this would be really fun and kind of feel very like glam Christmas. And it also allows me to not have to bring in another color or try to find a cardstock that matches, but I think you're really going to like this white stocking. Now for the cream accent pieces, I actually used a piece of scrap felt that I had adhered to some cardstock, so it has a cardstock backing, and I just ran that through my die cut machine using my standard die cutting sandwich and everything cut perfectly. Now I wanted to use this as a gift card holder, but the stocking gets more narrow as it goes down and it's not quite wide enough, and I'm going to show you what I did to remedy that situation so that I could kind of tuck a gift card behind it and use this as a gift card holder. Now I'm going to adhere some of these pieces using some liquid glue. You could use tape runner if you want. I just had this out and that's why I used it today. I don't always use liquid glue, but I'm finding myself liking it more and more. I can control where it goes very easily, and it adheres really well. So I've added these little felt accents onto my die cut stocking. And in order to give this a little bit of shadow to help it kind of stand off the background, I took my warm gray Copic marker and I just kind of traced just like super sloppily around the edge of this stocking. And I'm just using the W0 so that I get a really light kind of shading around this. And when I put it on a white background, that's going to help you kind of see it more. It's going to help it stand out. Now for the card front panel, I'm going to be using this dotted zigzag cover plate or background die from Catherine Pooler. You can see I've run it through my die cut machine. I did have a few little things I had to pop out, but I just used my little pokey tool to get those out. And then I have this really cool, fun and funky background that has a little bit of texture to it. And that texture is going to help that stocking kind of stand out even more on this card front. Now I'm taking some foam adhesive and I'm adding my little stocking stuffer stamped and die cut elements here. And I am going to add these pink candy canes kind of poking out of the top. And I have to apologize because I turned off my camera for this next part. I'm adding foam adhesive to the back of my stocking. And in order to make this a gift card holder, I took my background and I lined up my stocking and I just created a slit that kind of lined up with the top of my stocking in this panel. And that slit is wide enough to accommodate my gift card and allow me to kind of tuck it in, and it looks like it's coming out of the stocking. So I'm showing you that finished result here. I don't know what happened, but I turned off my camera when I wasn't thinking about it, or I thought it was on and it was actually off. So that slit in the card front allowed me to tuck that gift card between that card front panel that's die cut with the dotted zigzag cover plate and the actual card base. So it slides right between those two layers, and it's a perfect way to give a gift card. Now, what is a stocking without a little tag? I went ahead and white heat embossed this For You sentiment onto this little craft gift tag and tucked it in there. And then just to finish my grouping off, I just trimmed down another candy cane and kind of put it along that left side. I just felt like it needed one more thing over there. And you can see this great grouping of colorful elements coming out of this adorable white stocking. I think this turned out so cute. And look, the gift card just slides right in and out. I love the way this card turned out. In fact, I may make more. So let's move on to our second card for today. I'm using the Deck the Halls stamp. This is a large sentiment stamp, and I'm going to stamp it onto a linen card front. This is cut to 3 3/4 by 5, and I'm stamping it with the Catherine Pooler Blackjack ink. This is not quite black. It's a super dark charcoal gray, and I absolutely love this. It's a really nice alternative to a really dark, rich black, and I think it looks great with the other colors in my palette today. Now I'm taking my craft knife and I'm trimming around the tops of those L's and the S, and I'm just kind of going very slow to create a slit, and that's going to allow me to take that candy cane grouping that's over on the right side of the screen and kind of just tuck it behind this stamped sentiment. Now I have to apologize, my hair keeps getting in the camera. I had like a little half up kind of messy bun on the top of my head on this day that I filmed, and I did not realize that all of my crazy hairs were getting into the camera angle, so I apologize, but we're gonna keep moving on. I took that little grouping of holly leaves and I adhered it on with some foam adhesive, and then I adhered the grouping with that candy cane, the bow, and the holly leaves just kind of tucked behind that stamped sentiment. Now, if you're like me, you can hardly stand the fact that it says Deck the Halls and there's no fa la 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 la. So rather than digging through my stash to try to find just the right little sentiment strip, I went ahead and went over to my little typewriter that I have in my craft room. I will link it below. And I just typed out the words fa la 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 la. So I thought that was a fun addition. And then to bring in some pattern, I brought in a couple of different washi tapes. Now this black and white washi tape was a little wide for what I wanted. It is available in a thinner width, but I don't have that. So I am just taking my craft knife and a straight edge. This is actually my background die that I used earlier. And I'm just trimming this right in half right on my work surface because this is a self-healing magnetic cutting mat. And I absolutely love to work on this surface because I can do things like that and I don't have to worry about messing it up. But I have to tell you, since I switched to this white cutting mat as my surface, I have had to be careful that I don't stain it. So that's been a little bit of a challenge, but I find that cleaning it with a baby wipe or even some rubbing alcohol helps to take off some of the ink, but there are a few areas that I have stained since I've switched to this white mat. So just, beware. Now I've taken my washi tape and I've placed it down on the bottom of that card front. Then I added some foam adhesive to the back of my strip that says fa la 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 la, and I trimmed that off once I got it mounted on my card front. And then I thought I needed just some sort of matting for this, and I had this scrap, obviously a scrap, of craft cardstock, so I went ahead and trimmed that down and placed my card front using some foam adhesive right over the top of that, and only you, me, and the whole internet will know that there are die cuts already cut out of this craft cardstock. But this is a great way to use up a scrap, even though I've already die cut it, because all of that's not going to be seen just by me and you, So then I'll take some tape runner adhesive, place it on the back of that craft cardstock, and put this onto my top folding card base. Now this is a horizontal top folding card base, so this is probably more your standard style A2 size card. So my cardstock is cut to 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. Now I took it over to my trimmer and I lopped off all the ends of that candy cane, the holly leaves, and all of that, and I decided I didn't really like that. So I just went ahead and re-stamped the holly leaves, placed them right over the top, repositioned my bow on top of it, and that finishes off my card for today. Now I did add a little bit of sparkle and shine using some Tonic Aqua Shimmer Pin on these card projects, as well as some sparkling clear sequins. And on the stocking card, I kind of tucked them into the stocking too, and I absolutely love how that looks kind of mixed in with all those candy cane elements and ornaments and such. And then you can see all the sparkle and shine on the second card as well. And that completes a couple of holiday cards today featuring the brand new Holiday 2020 release from Catherine Pooler and a couple of cards to celebrate World Card Making Day. And I hope you get a chance to create today. I'm actually going to be out of town on World Card Making Day, but I am taking a little something with me to keep my creative hands busy while we kind of get away for a change of scenery. If you're looking for something to kind of jumpstart your creativity on this World Card Making Day, you can try to create your own gift card holder card, or you can use this color palette as a jumping off point for your projects. And I would love if you share them on Instagram. Go ahead and tag me. I'm at Carissa Wiley there, and I cannot wait to see what you guys are creating on this World Card Making Day. As always, thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember that I will always have links to the featured products used in these projects in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure to check there. Or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I will have it linked below. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of my paper crafting and card making video tutorials here. And if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and share it with a friend as well. Thanks again for watching. I'm so glad you're here. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the very end. You know, if you've made it this far, you are one of my favorites. If you want to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and click the button on the left side of the screen. And here's a couple more video tutorials I thought you might enjoy.